welcome back to the Cocked Dice. We're here for another painting update from Ian. This week, I've not really been painting many figures, I'm afraid to say. Those ones before you are basically all I've done for the last 7 days. And to be honest, these were painted on Monday and Tuesday last week, because I had to film on Wednesday and I was on a bit of a deadline. So they were really quick, contrast and a couple of highlight and lots of washes paint job. I'll give you a couple of close-ups. The molds themselves are a bunch of files from Thingiverse. They're pretty simple. I've messed up the printing, but to be honest, this was for a one-off pulp scenario, and these most likely will be chucked in a box of random gribblies to be pulled out every now and again. So I wasn't massively worried about any printing mistakes on them. I just cleaned them up as best I could. They've had a contrast paint job. It was mainly the Space Wolf greyish colour, with a couple of highlights of kind of lighter than Fenrisian grey, and then I've just washed them down with lots and lots of thin glazes of black to get this kind of darker tone at the bottom, and then some Caribou Crimson just over the boils and extra bits. Same again here, nothing particularly special about these at all. It was just a super quick paint job. I think in total it took me 2 nights, so like 4 hours to paint all of them. A lot of that was drying time. Obviously, if you've worked with contrast, you know it takes a while. I think there's this guy's got a little bit of the Drucci Violet on him as well around his mouth, just to give it a sort of deeper, darker look. So whilst they're nothing particularly special and they won't win awards, they'll do for a quick scenario, which if you've watched last week's Butch Sullivan Perilous Tales adventure, you will see them in action. But they were literally painted for that game and that game alone, and they're doubtful I'll see them on a table that often going forwards. So, what have I been doing all week? Well, I've not been sitting on my backside, that's for sure. Let's take the camera roving and we'll see. That's right, this week it's been all about the terrain. As I mentioned the other week, I finished off the rest of Batman version 3 starter set from Night Models, and I was reminded that I had a box of buildings I bought from TTCombat about 2, maybe even 3 years ago. I've had them a while. They've been built and assembled, they've even been half undercoated for a little while, and they've just been sat there. So I painted this up this week, so I'm going to take a seat and I'll give you a closer look. So here we have the Cool Beans Cafe. Just a kind of fairly basic paint job on this. Kept it nice and light. It's basically grey, airbrushed on a load of muck around the vents and across the bottom just to give it a bit of depth. And then on areas such as this over here, you see I've been using some weathering oils just to give it a bit of leaching around the window frames down the bottom here. But yeah, nice quick dirty kind of building for Batman or any sort of post-apocalyptic game. This lovely pair of subway entrances. I really like these from TTCombat. I think they're awesome. They've got kind of vents through them, but they're going to sit on this fairly dark mat, so it should look pretty cool. I might drop a piece of dark cardboard underneath them later, but for now I think they'll do. Same again, it's a base coat, just done with brush on this case because I had them out, of some green Lorien Forest, I think that was, and then Fenrisian grey on the back, and then some airbrushing around the tops and just to give it some different shadows. And then I've just run some oils down them to let it kind of just run down these cracks to make it look like some sort of tin roof. But yeah, a couple of Metro stubways, they're pretty cool. This is the Abandoned Apartments block from TTCombat. So I'm less fond of this model. I don't particularly like these really thick, what are they called? Bits of wood. Don't really like these big thick bits of wood that sit over the windows. It just doesn't do it for me, but I kind of borrowed a colour scheme from their website for one of the bigger buildings and went with I think it's Eshin Grey, and then this is just all Rakarth flesh around the edges and around the windows, and then Balor Brown for the doors and things. Exactly the same style of painting again. I literally just got the airbrush out on Saturday, Sunday, and just one of the 2 days, I can't remember, and just blatted all around the kind of areas which would gather dust and dirt. And again, around the steps, I've just thrown, I think this was the moss, AK Interactive moss. You can see it all over here. I've got their kind of grime and decay kit. It's just kind of handy for gribbly cities. And I've just thrown washes and bits of muck all over it. So yeah, that's a really cool building. Nice big flat area. To kind of go with this one and the others, we've got a bunch of extra bits. This is some sort of water tower. That's pretty cool. We've got a fire escape. Again, same sort of painting, just done in various greys and thrown some colours at it. And finally, air conditioning vent. Again, I just sprayed upwards with the airbrush a little bit to get a bit of muck and make it look like it's been chucking out dirty air and water. Done some fairly basic painting on the warning signs just to give it a bit of interest, and then lots of brown airbrushing at the bottom to give it some muck and dirt, and they can just all sit on the roofs. I've got a clean brownstone. Again, TTCombat, mainly the weatherings around the bottom and the front. My favourite bit of this one, because I had to do it. I've only done it one side, I probably should do some more, but I wanted some pigeon poo for no other reason other than it looks cool. And then the back of this has a handy fire escape, and these are wide enough to take a 30mm base from Batman, so you can kind of jump your characters around on the building a little bit. And the final one this week is the abandoned brownstone. I really like these, the much thinner planks of wood that they've got on these. I think these are just some sort of thick cardboard. I remember building it taking ages, and I never quite got around to it. Around to finishing all the other windows. I've just kind of left them on, and I've bordered these with some black cardboard just to kind of hide them off. Again, loads of weathering, loads of effects on it. It's got a kind of gribbly AC unit at the back. Really like how this wood came out. I was watching a model railway video, and the guy was just doing washes over wood, and so this is just XV88 painted on, and then a thin, really thin glaze of black and white just kind of painted on it and then rubbed off a little bit, and it gives that kind of weathered, worn wood look. They all come apart, but I've not painted the insides, as you can see, because I wanted to get them done off the table. And to be honest, when we're playing games, I really don't like putting models inside buildings. So there we have it. That has been the week's painting. It's added to, I've got the depot office as well. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 main buildings, a couple of subways, and a couple of bits of furniture for the roof. I've got loads of street furniture and other bits already in stock. So I should have more than enough to be able to play some Batman on a 3x3 table. So that's it for this week. Please like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, click on the little notifications icon to get all the latest updates. Thank you very much.